All right, today we are starting a quest. We're going to conquer one of the biggest challenges in research, academic publishing. I know, it can feel like you're lost in a maze, but think of us as your map. We're going to break down the entire process and show you exactly how to turn all that hard work into a published paper that really makes a difference. It really all boils down to this question, because at the end of the day, academic publishing isn't just some box you have to check. It's the engine that takes a discovery from your lab or your computer and plugs it right into the global conversation. That's the conversation that pushes science and policy and all of human progress forward.
So, here's the bottom line. Publishing is the bridge. It's that critical step that takes what you've learned and turns it into a public good. It's how you can spark totally new ideas, challenge old ones, and give other researchers all over the world the chance to stand on your shoulders and build on your work.
Okay, let's get into it. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with why publishing is so important. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty, finding your topic, writing a paper that really stands out, picking the perfect journal for it, and finally getting through that peer review process. Let's begin. Every single paper you publish is so much more than just a line on your CV. It's a building block for your entire career. It builds your credibility, it opens up doors to new projects and new opportunities, and it gives you a real say in where your field is headed. It's a skill, and it gets sharper every single time you do it. So let's get practical. Everything, and I mean everything, kicks off with finding the right research topic. And this isn't just some small first step, it's the actual foundation that your whole publication is going to be built on. If you get this part right, trust me, the rest of the journey gets a whole lot smoother. So how do you find that perfect topic? Well, think of it like a 4-point check. First, does it line up with what you're passionate about and what you're good at? That's what's going to keep you going. Second, is it new? Is it relevant? Is there a real gap in the current knowledge that you can fill? Third, you've got to be brutally practical. Can you actually get the data you need? Is this project even possible? And last, always be thinking about who you're writing for and the kind of impact you want to have. Once you have your findings, your next job is to become a storyteller, because a truly great academic paper isn't just a dry report of facts. It's a compelling story. It's a carefully built narrative that grabs the reader and logically walks them from a problem all the way to your solution.
Now, these 4 tips right here, this is the secret sauce, seriously. It's not about using the biggest words you can find. It's all about being clear. Use simple language. Follow a logical structure. We'll get to that next. You have to back up every single claim with data. That's the golden rule. And finally, you have to revise and proofread like your career depends on it because, well, it kind of does.
And this is that structure I was talking about. IMRID. It's basically the universal language of scientific papers, the roadmap every reader expects to follow. You start with the introduction. What's the problem here? Then you move to your methods. What exactly did you do? Next up are the results. Okay, so what did you find? And you wrap it all up with a discussion. What does it all mean? If you follow this, your work immediately becomes easier to understand and way more credible. Okay, you did it. The paper is written, your data's solid, the story you're telling is compelling. So you're done, right? Not quite. In fact, one of the most strategic parts of this whole quest is just getting started, finding the right home for your work. Choosing a journal is a huge decision, and this isn't about just getting it published anywhere. The right journal puts your research directly in front of the most important people in your field. You know, the ones who are going to read it, cite it, and build upon it. It's all about making sure your research has the biggest impact possible. You've basically got 2 main paths to choose from. On one hand, you have open access journals. They make your work free for everyone, everywhere, which is amazing for getting it seen by a global audience. On the other hand, you have subscription-based journals, which target a very specific, dedicated group of readers who pay to get access, usually through their university. Let's just spend a second on this table, because the trade-offs here are really key. Look at open access. You get huge visibility, often faster reviews, and generally more citations. But there's a catch. You, the author, usually have to pay something called an article processing charge, or an APC. Now look at subscription journals. They're typically free for you to publish in, which is awesome, but your audience is going to be smaller. So the choice really boils down to your main goal. Do you want maximum reach, or do you want to target a specific community? And of course, what's your budget? So, you've picked your journal, you've hit that submit button, and now comes the part that a lot of researchers get nervous about, peer review. But listen, don't think of it as a trial by fire.
A much better way to look at it is like getting a free expert consultation from people whose only goal is to make your work stronger, clearer, and more impactful. So, what's actually going on behind the scenes? It's pretty logical. First, an editor gives your paper a quick screen to make sure it's a good fit and meets basic quality standards. If it passes, it gets sent out to a couple of expert reviewers. They'll send back their detailed feedback, and then you revise your paper based on what they said. And once those revisions are approved, you are on your way to getting published.
This whole review process can happen in a few different ways. With single blind, you don't know who's reviewing your paper. With double blind, you don't know them, and they don't know you. The idea is to make it all about the research. And then there's open review, where everybody's identity is known. But no matter which type it is, the goal is always the same: to be fair and to make the science better.
This quote right here is probably the single most important piece of advice in this whole process. The feedback you get, it's not a personal attack. It's a roadmap. It's a guide for how to improve, and it's coming from experts who are volunteering their time to help you. So see it as a gift. Work with it, don't fight it, and I promise your paper will be so much better for it. Embrace it. And after you've gone through that whole journey, the result is so powerful. Each publication is a permanent mark you've made on your field. It's a clear signal of your expertise, it cements your credibility, and it becomes a part of the academic record that future researchers will use to build their own work.
So we end right back where we started. You've got the map now, you understand the quest. The only thing left to figure out is, what story is your research going to tell the world? What problem are you passionate about solving? It's time to go out there and take that first step.